DanMachi Season 5 episodes have been delayed until further notice. News: DanMachi Season 5 Episode 12 delayed indefinitely due to production issues. This is the official post from DanMachi that takes you to their site, and upon going to their site, here's the Japanese version, here's the translated version. They say that the last 4 episodes of Season 5 has been delayed until early spring 2025. Anyone else getting 86 flashbacks? I know I am. Anyone else getting Nier Automata flashbacks? I know I am. I feel like we've been here before. I feel like we have been down this path before. I feel like this is just some straight up deja vu. And we are seeing a reenactment of what has happened to countless anime for the last few years. Now, there's quite a few things to talk about, but for one in particular, full-blown just meltdown of production. Like, just straight up, the entirety of DanMachi's Season 5's production has just melted down. Complete production collapse to where they had to delay the last 4 episodes, just 4 episodes, until spring of next year. Now, to be fair, that's not too long. I mean, it's December. We're at the end of December, and so that means if we factor in the normal length of an anime season, that means, like, for instance, we're gonna have, like, January, February, March. Then DanMachi will return in April, or at the very least May, somewhere around in there. So we know for a fact that it's not that long, but it does showcase an inherent issue that, once again, has been plaguing not just JC staff, but the anime industry as a whole for a very long time. So first off, we gotta look at who's working on DanMachi and all that, and who's the producers and everything, and one good look at the situation instantly outlines the current issue, JC staff, and then also just look at all these producers attached to the show. Like, oh my goodness. But, basically, JC staff is very well known for churning out a lot of anime at once. Like, I believe this season, this anime season, Fall of Anime 2024, they have released about 7 to 8 different anime, all airing at once for this season. And I want to put this in perspective for a second, okay? This is the top 20 largest anime studios by employees, okay? So this does not count, I want to make sure I clarify this does not count freelancers, like people that are called in from different countries, like freelance animators or workers that's maybe in different countries. This does not count that. This is on paper, actually registered for those companies, official employees for those companies. And so if you look at the list here, you see JC staff's not even in the top 10. It is at the bottom at number 18. It has, at the most, about 200 or less than 200 official main employees for its company, but the output of anime that JC staff delivers is way higher than pretty much every other single studio that is on this list. Yes, even higher than Studio Mappa. And so when you factor in how many employees officially they have, not including freelancers, and then how much anime they output every given season, it makes sense why we have just straight up full-blown production collapsing because of that outcome. They don't have enough people to work on said series. And it is just insane how these companies operate, because this obviously isn't just a JC staff issue. This does fundamentally come down to just a lot of these different animation studios, like Mappa, for instance. Toei used to have probably a lot of issues as well. All these companies in general do have issues. Besides Kyoto Animation, they are one that has kind of branched out and been very different in comparison to other companies. But in general, animation studios, they're really bad when it comes to just, like, really budgeting and, like, being on schedule often. I mean, they can do it, but oftentimes it's an absolute mess. And JC staff is a new example of just how they are continuously trying to pump stuff out like slop, and then it just collapses in because they're not able to continue that, like, output. And that's what happens. So DanMachi is a product, or this hiatus that we got, is a product of mismanagement from the higher-ups at JC staff, the production committee and all that, forcing this company to continuously pump out as many shows as they possibly can every single season. Now, I do want to talk about a few things that is legitimately tragic about this. DanMachi Season 5 has been amazing. Okay, I'm not a light novel reader. I do want to clarify that. So, I don't know the changes, if there's changes, and I'm assuming there is changes. I don't know the changes from, let's say, the original source, like the anime and all that, how different it is from the light novel. But as a anime only, I like DanMachi. Season 5 is great. Besides, obviously, this hiatus. And the thing about the situation is that Danmachi has clearly gained a lot of momentum in these last few months. I have seen a lot of conversation around Danmachi, more than I ever have, honestly, and it's very clear it's gained a lot of popularity. And so it's legitimately sad to me seeing a series really resurge and get more popularity than it ever has, and it now, because of this hiatus, it's going to force people to basically just not care anymore. Now, obviously, there's going to be dedicated fans that are going to sit down and watch it, but I feel like there's going to be a large gap. That 3 to 4 month gap is a long time. A lot can happen in that brief period of time. New shows come out, a lot of time passes, and people move on. People move on to the next big thing, because like 3 months from now is a long time technically, even if it doesn't feel like it, because, you know, think about this. In just a few months, we're going to have ReZero return. We're going to have, you know, a bunch of other new series come in that could be a dark horse that blows up and can become the next big thing for the next decade. Who really knows? A lot can happen, so to speak. And so, factoring in these delays, it does really harm Danmachi than anything else. Now, obviously, getting into the good aspect of this, it is better to have a delayed product than a rush product that is just ass. Let's be honest. I'd much rather see it delayed and look as good as it possibly can. But effectively, the reason why this has happened is because JC staff likes to output 8 different series every single season. They only have 200 to less than 200 employees, not counting freelancers, which obviously they're gonna headbutt into a wall eventually. It's bound to happen. And Danmachi is one of those series that headbutted itself right into a wall, and it can't do anything about it, which is why it's had to been delayed, because they can't get it out in time. They're working on too much at once. But the point I'm trying to get at is that, like, these delays in general kill a lot of hype and momentum. Like Nier Automata is such a good example of this, because, like, I talked about this earlier this year and last year. I said Nier Automata was really good. It was off to a great start. It wasn't perfect, but it was off to a great start. It had potential to be a huge anime, maybe not as big as, let's say, JJK or something, but it had potential to be big. But thanks to its continuous delays and, you know, it was pushed off longer and longer, it resulted in everybody's interest in the show basically dying. And, you know, let's say Uncle from Another World, you know, that's also another example of, like, you know, another anime that really fell off because of the constant delays. Delays really can be good to make the product better, but it is also a double-edged sword where everybody's interest just, you know, dwanes. They don't care anymore because, like, there's so much anime coming out every single season, every single week, and if you're an avid anime watcher or even manga reader, you're not going to care to keep up with something that is going to potentially get delayed once again. So, I'm really sad because Danmachi Season 5 has been great. It has been a very good season. I have loved it. I took a lot of time out of my day to actually catch up with it, like watch all of Season 4, catch up to Season 5. Love it. It's great. It's been a very good season. I'm not, like I said, a light novel reader, so I don't know how the original source is in comparison, but as an anime only, been loving it. And so seeing this, it hurts as a fan, because you know for a fact that, you know, any momentum and popularity that it's been gaining is just basically going to flatline. Almost, because of this. I mean, there's a few series that survived it to a degree, like let's think of 86. 86 had continuous delays many years ago, and it caused so much problems. A lot of people were upset with it, but there was a dedicated, you know, fan base that stuck around. But I feel like thanks to all those constant delays, it's what really did harm 86 from maybe even getting a season 2. Why we haven't gotten a season 2 yet is probably because of the damage those delays potentially caused. Because you gotta imagine CEOs and higher-ups, they take a look at a product, and if it was damaged like that, they might not want to continue it. So it sucks seeing something like this for Danmachi. This could have irreparable damage to its overall product, and I hope that is not the case. Hopefully, I'm thinking too hard into it, but even still, this sucks, man. It legitimately sucks seeing a delay like this. And once again, JC staff, they really need to understand, they need to stop outputting so much at once. I mean, this is just an anime industry problem, it is, but JC staff is definitely well known and notorious for doing stuff like this, and it's clear it's catching up with them. They're not able to output like that anymore because there's not enough animators, which is why they've had to heavily rely on freelance work just to be able to get some of their stuff out. So I do think that in general, going forward, hopefully JC Staff restructures, because this is a total failure of management, allowing something like this to happen. It's not the animator's fault, it's just management really doing a bad job with managing multiple projects and trying to take on too much at once. Like, JC Staff, I want to be blunt with you. You're not Mappa. You're not Mappa. You're not. You're not Mappa. Like, Mappa has his own problems, but you're not Mappa, okay? If you look at their employees, I mean, look, they have double of JC Staff, okay? That's not including the freelancers. So, yeah, JC Staff, accept that reality. You're not. But, anyways, I'll leave it at that. I wanted to keep everybody in the know for those that were unaware of it, because I know there is a lot of people that love DanMachi, and, you know, the episode date might come around, and you're, like, wondering, where's the episode? Well, there you go. The reason why it's not coming out is because it has been delayed until April 2025. So I love you guys. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.